We've not been as satisfied with the results of our okra so far this year as we would like to have been, and I know because of the comments that many of you viewers have given us, you've probably not either. In fact, we're just now beginning to get a few pods of okra, and here it is almost the middle of August, and we should be pretty well into okra harvest. We have two varieties of okra. The variety here is Jade, which is a sort of a dwarf or semi-dwarf variety of okra that was developed by the University of Arkansas. This variety over here is Louisiana Green Velvet. It's a smooth podded okra, and it doesn't have as many spines as the Jade does. And of course, it's a larger okra. I think what the situation is on our okra this year and why we're not getting much fruit set yet, in fact it's not even growing much, is again because of some of the weather patterns we've had. Now, okra is a plant that really loves high temperatures. And if you'll recall, in May and early June, when we had some really cool temperatures and the soil was still cool, our okra had just come up, as probably yours had in your garden, and it really just kind of sat there and never got off to a fast start. When the soil temperatures warmed up, then we finally got a good root system developed on the okra, then it has begun to grow. But okra, like many of our plants, have to go through 3 stages of growth. They go through what we call a juvenile stage, which is the real growth stage. And then it goes through a transitional stage, which is a slowing down in growth, and finally into a productive stage, which is when we start flowering and getting fruit set. And I think because of our early cool temperatures, we just simply had a delayed juvenile stage of growth. And so it's just now beginning to really grow, and we're beginning to get into that flowering and fruit set of the okra. So I believe we'll have some okra later on, but unfortunately this year, because of the early cool temperatures, it's just been delayed. Another thing that we're looking at here is our sweet potato planting. We kind of have it sandwiched in between the okra and the sunflowers, and we're just about to run out of space here. But we do have plenty of vine growth already on the potatoes to make good root growth, and so we really can start cutting these back now just to contain them somewhat. I happen to have the clippers here I was clipping a little bit of okra with, so I could come in and really clip all these sweet potato vines back and contain them where I want to. If you had a pair of hedge clippers and you've got your sweet potato vines growing out of bounds like these are, you can just get a pair of hedge clippers and just anything that just really can whack those things back, because all we're wanting to do now is maintain really the foliage that's really over the bed and giving it some good shading of the bed, and then also enough foliage, of course, to go ahead and mature those roots and enlarge the smaller roots. So I think we have plenty of foliage here, and we'll probably come back and continue to go ahead and clip this back and kind of contain this sweet potato planting. But the thing we're really enjoying this year in the garden are our sunflowers. This is the giant sunflower. It's of course the sunflower that is grown primarily for the sunflower seed. Commercially, it's grown for sunflower seed, not only for the oil, but also for bird feed, and also to roast for human consumption. We've planted them in here because they make a nice colorful stand of flowers in the middle of the garden. They're also attractive to bees, and we find that the bumblebees particularly are really working on these sunflowers now. They make a nice hedge or screen in a garden, and also can give some wind protection, a little bit of a shade if you want that in the garden for some young plants. I think the sunflowers are really colorful out here this year. We've got some really large heads, and the interesting thing about the sunflower that you may not know is that as the sun moves during the day, so does the sunflower head, and it will really follow that sun around. And in the morning time, when you get up, the sunflower will be in the east, and it will gradually begin to turn, and will actually turn somewhat with the sun during the day, and it really makes a nice little colorful display in your garden. We're probably going to take these sunflowers later on this fall and clip the heads and dry them for bird seed, and we'll be showing you how to do that on some later Oklahoma gardening shows.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.